All right. This is 5-minute physiology. This is supposed to be just a quick introduction to principles of training and ultimately health. So stress, recover, adapt. This is basically the foundation of good training. It's a theory. Hold on here. Come on, baby. There we go. The theory was initially constructed and elaborated upon by Hans Selye. He came up with the theories of stress, or elaborated on theories of stress, and ultimately general adaptation. And what he basically proposed was this framework for how organisms tolerate what we would call stressors, and this can be both physical and mental, and then how they either adapt to those things or they're overwhelmed by those things and fail to adapt, and that causes physiologic harm most of the time. So it's a curve, right? There's a state of calm, there's a state of what we would call eustress, which is essentially positive stress. We're energized, we're focused, we're enjoying it, work feels effortless. And then there's fatigue, distress, and which is ultimately negative to our health, and we break down and we burn out. So applying this to training, we have the General Adaptation Syndrome, which is basically our stress response to a certain thing, right? So an individual stressor, this can be both micro, meaning small, like one workout, or it can be looked at as like a whole training cycle, or it can be week to week. Typically beginners, they go through this process very quickly, like from session to session, they make adaptations. But as we get further and further into our training age, it takes longer to get stress, like to accumulate stress, to recover, but it's always kind of happening, right? But the first phase is that we go into like a deficit. We accumulate some fatigue, stress occurs, we resist this, we kind of cope with it, the body starts to appropriately adapt. If we continue to just stress without allowing for adaptation, though, we start to deplete our ability to recover. So to make progress, what we do is we stress our system, our body goes into alarm, we start to create adaptations to the imposed demands, we plateau a little bit, we re-stress, and if we overdo it, we struggle. If we hopefully do the appropriate amount of activity, we can rebound and come back out of this. So why this overall framework is important for you to understand as a trainee, as a person just trying to be healthy, trying to get fit, stay mentally motivated, and also just to understand how we adapt as an organism, as a human, is you can see where you are in these cycles the more you start to understand them, right? When you do a training session, and if it was really, really hard, you may not be able to rebound the way that you should, or in a productive way. We're always looking to create productive stress that allows us to recover and then ultimately to adapt so that we can keep going up. We want to keep leveling up. Or if we are, in our older years, like there is literally a decline that is normal and age related, we want to decrease that by continuing to train and building strength and all that type of stuff. So long story short, understanding stress recovery and adaptation is a super good starting point to start to conceptualize how you can make progress and ultimately take care of yourself. And sometimes mentally we are stressed out when physically we are fine. And that is one of the things you start to learn, like literally learn to listen to your body. And that's why this stuff is hard. I've honestly been at like training for 12 years, and then I went to school, and then I've also just worked on like a lot of the internal things that I used to like kind of be that would hold me back. And knowing some of these frameworks and knowing when to push, knowing when to rest, knowing that it's okay to take a little bit of a break, are ultimately really good tools. So we're going to do I'm going to have one more of these 5-minute physiology. I'm going to try to do one a week, I should say, just to help you understand. And but they're going to be simple. Feel free to ask me any questions.